Hello, Holistic Heroes. Welcome to the channel, and welcome to this week's episode of the Holistic Living for Body, Mind, and Spirit podcast, courtesy of Violet Spring.
Welcome to today's deep dive. We're going to be looking at this really interesting blog post called Unlocking Your Inner Alchemist, Transform Everyday Stress into Spiritual Gold.
That sounds intriguing.
Right. The title itself really grabbed my attention.
Yeah, I can see why.
It's by Violet Spring. She's a holistic life coach. And basically, we're going to explore how she says we can, actually transform everyday stress into spiritual growth.
Okay.
And she uses techniques inspired by alchemy, turning base metals into gold and all that.
I see, using that as a framework.
Exactly.
Interesting concept.
Yeah, so we're diving into this whole alchemy for modern life thing.
Okay.
And the post starts off talking about how life, throws us curveballs,
Yeah.
those unexpected things, right, that kind of mess up our routines
Yeah.
and test our limits.
Yeah, for sure.
And Violet Spring says we often miss the opportunity in these moments.
The opportunity.
Yeah, we see stress as just like a bad thing, purely negative.
Okay, so what she's saying is the opportunity then.
Well, she's arguing that these tough times, these stressful moments, they actually have the potential for amazing personal growth.
Huh. That's an interesting way to look at it.
Right. It's like, think about refining precious metals.
Okay.
You need that intense heat to purify and strengthen them, right?
I see. So she's using that as a metaphor.
Exactly.
Like the stress is like the fire.
Yeah. So how does this apply to, us dealing with all the stress of the 21st century and everything?
Well, her point is that we can all become alchemists in our own lives.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, we can use our everyday challenges, all those things that stress us out, as the raw material to grow and transform ourselves.
Now we're all alchemists. Okay, so to get into the specifics,
Okay.
the blog post brings in the 4 elements.
Oh, like earth, water, fire, air.
Yep. Those are our tools in this whole process.
Gotcha.
Each element, she says, represents a different side of us.
Okay.
And each one offers unique tools for dealing with stress and transforming it.
That's a cool idea.
I know, right? It's where things start to get really practical.
Yeah, I'm starting to see how this all comes together.
So let's start with Earth. What's its role in this whole alchemy thing?
Well, earth represents stability.
Yeah.
Being grounded, present in your body,
Okay.
feeling rooted and secure. And the blog post says that when you're stressed, reconnecting with earth can help you find a safe space within yourself,
That makes sense.
like a solid foundation.
Yeah, a foundation to deal with whatever's happening.
Exactly.
And she gives some really practical tips for this.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Well, one that stood out to me was walking barefoot on natural ground,
Oh, interesting.
for 10 minutes each day.
Have you tried that?
I have. It's actually really calming.
Huh. Might have to give that a go.
Yeah, you should. She also mentions this thing called the 5-4-3-2-1 method.
What?
It's a sensory thing, super effective for bringing you back to the present moment.
Okay.
It's pretty simple. You just notice 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 you can taste.
Interesting.
It's like a mini vacation for your mind.
I like that.
It is. Okay, so moving on to water.
Okay.
What can water teach us about handling stress?
Well, water, it embodies the flow of emotions, right?
Okay.
It's about acceptance, going with the current instead of resisting it.
So instead of trying to dam up our feelings,
Yeah,
we should learn to ride the waves.
Yes. Allow yourself to feel your emotions, fully without judgment. That way you can process them better instead of bottling them up.
I hate to see that.
Yeah. And she gives some practices for this too.
Like what?
Emotional journaling, just writing down your feelings without censoring yourself.
Oh, that sounds kind of freeing.
It is. She also talks about using showers or baths for mindful reflection.
Letting the water wash away the tension.
Precisely. And even allowing yourself to cry when you need to.
I guess that makes sense.
She calls tears a sacred release.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a nice way to reframe something we usually see as negative.
Definitely a powerful shift in perspective.
Hmm.
All right, let's move on to fire.
Fire.
What does this element represent when it comes to transforming stress?
Well, fire is all about transformation through action.
Action, okay.
Think about how fire can destroy, but also purify and make space for new life.
Yeah.
In this context, fire represents our ability to turn that difficult energy into positive change.
So how do we actually harness that fiery energy?
One way is through movement.
Movement.
Yeah, the blog post talks about movement medicine.
Okay.
It could be anything. dance, yoga, just moving your body.
I see.
It's a way to shake off the tension
Makes sense.
and shift your energy.
Yeah, I can see how that would work.
You can also use anger or frustration to fuel creative projects.
Turn that heat into something productive.
Exactly. Alchemy in action, taking something negative and making it into something beautiful.
Love it. Okay, last but not least, air.
Okay.
What does air teach us about stress?
Air is about clarity, mental flexibility, seeing the bigger picture. When we're stressed, we get stuck in the moment,
Yeah, for sure.
lose sight of the context.
So air helps us rise above the drama.
Exactly. Gain a fresh perspective.
Gotcha.
And one way to cultivate this is through sky meditation.
Sky meditation. What's that?
Just observing clouds, practicing detachment.
Oh, okay.
It reminds us that everything is temporary, just like the clouds.
This too shall pass.
Exactly. The post also talks about breath work,
Okay.
using those pranayama techniques,
Yeah.
to calm the mind and shift your consciousness.
Even just taking a few deep breaths can help a lot, right?
Absolutely.
Mm.
And there's one more technique she mentions that I think is really helpful.
What's that?
Asking yourself, what is this teaching me
Oh, yeah, I like that one.
in those difficult moments,
Yeah, it really can change your perspective.
Totally. So we've got all these great techniques.
Yeah, but how do we make this alchemy for everyday life thing an actual everyday thing?
That's where the next part of the blog post comes in, daily alchemical practices.
Oh,
And that's what we'll be exploring in part 2 of our deep dive.
sounds good.
Welcome back to our deep dive into alchemizing stress.
All right, so last time we were talking about the 4 elements.
Yeah. Earth, water, fire, air.
Right, and how we can use those as tools to transform challenges into growth opportunities.
Exactly.
We talked about grounding, going with the flow of emotions, channeling energy, and getting some perspective.
All those great techniques. Yeah.
But now we're going to get into something even more,
Mysterious.
yeah, maybe a little mystical.
Like,
Violet Spring calls them advanced alchemical techniques.
oh, cool.
So these techniques, they seem to work on what would you say, a deeper level?
Yeah, I think so. Like almost a subconscious level.
Okay, interesting.
And they often require more skill and awareness, just like in those adventure stories.
Right, like we got to level up our skills first.
Exactly. They really challenge us to look inward
Mhm.
and confront parts of ourselves that we usually try to avoid.
Okay, I'm intrigued, but also a little nervous now.
I get it. It can be a bit daunting.
So let's start with the first one. Shadow work integration.
Okay.
What exactly is that? I've heard the term before.
Yeah, it's kind of trendy these days.
I'm not sure I totally get it.
Well, shadow work is basically about befriending those parts of ourselves that we usually hide or reject,
Oh, I see.
those aspects of our personality that we see as negative.
Well, the stuff we don't like about ourselves.
Yeah, shameful, undesirable, all that.
The stuff we keep locked away.
Exactly. But here's the alchemical twist.
Okay.
Violet Spring argues that these shadow aspects, they actually hold a lot of potential for growth.
Huh, interesting.
It's like those hidden corners of a map
Okay.
that could lead to buried treasure.
Okay, I get the metaphor, but how do we actually do shadow work?
It can be challenging, yeah,
Yeah.
but the blog post gives some good tips.
Okay, good.
The first step is becoming aware of our shadow.
Okay.
So, what patterns do you see in your life?
Mhm.
What behaviors keep popping up?
I see.
What emotions do you avoid
Okay.
or suppress?
Okay.
And what are those criticisms you have of yourself?
Or of others.
Yeah, those recurring ones.
So it's about being curious about those uncomfortable feelings and recurring themes.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And you got to approach it with curiosity and compassion, not judgment.
Oh,
Imagine you're an archaeologist digging up a fragile artifact.
I like that analogy.
You wouldn't just, start hacking away with a shovel.
Right, be gentle with it.
Exactly. So find a safe space.
Not in the middle of a coffee shop.
Probably not the best place.
Yeah,
It could be your journal, a quiet walk, or talk to a therapist,
makes sense.
So once you've identified those shadow parts,
Yeah, what then? Do we try to get rid of them?
that's where the integration comes in.
Integration.
We don't banish them, we integrate them into our whole selves.
Look.
We embrace them with compassion,
Yeah.
not judgment.
So we accept all parts of ourselves.
Yes, even the ones we don't like.
Okay.
It's like cleaning out a cluttered closet.
Oh, another good analogy.
You might find things you've been hiding because you're ashamed of them.
Yeah.
But by bringing them into the light,
Mm-hmm.
you can decide what to keep, what to toss, what to maybe repurpose.
Makes sense.
So shadow work is about bringing things into the light.
Okay, less scary now.
Let's move on to the next one. quantum forgiveness.
Oh, yeah, this one sounded really mysterious.
It does, right?
Yeah, very mystical.
But it's about shifting our perspective on forgiveness.
Okay.
The blog post says we can use the principles of quantum entanglement.
Quantum entanglement.
Yeah, the idea that everything is connected.
Okay, I'm gonna need some more explanation on this one.
Sure.
How does quantum physics relate to forgiveness?
Well, it's not about physics in the scientific sense, really.
Okay.
But it does involve a perspective shift that's pretty radical, like quantum theory.
Okay, I'm listening.
So instead of seeing ourselves as separate individuals, quantum forgiveness asks us to consider the possibility that we are all interconnected.
Interconnected, okay.
Like threads in a big cosmic tapestry.
Okay, I kind of get that, but how does that relate to forgiving someone who's hurt us?
Well, it allows us to see things from a wider perspective.
Oh, okay.
Imagine you've got a coworker who's always undermining you.
Ugh, I've been there.
Right. From your view, they seem like the enemy.
Totally.
But what if, from their perspective, they're just acting out of fear?
Fear?
Yeah, or insecurity.
Huh.
What if their actions are a cry for help?
Interesting.
It's like putting on their shoes, seeing the world through their eyes.
I see. So quantum forgiveness is about seeing those difficult people or situations as teachers.
Exactly. It doesn't mean you condone their actions,
Yeah.
but it helps you move past the anger and resentment.
It's about understanding that everyone's on their own journey, right?
Yes. And that their actions are often more about them than about you.
Okay, that makes sense.
So it's about cultivating compassion even when it's hard.
Compassion.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Yeah. On to the last one then. Conscious manifestation. Okay, that's a popular one these days.
It is. What's Violet Spring's take on it?
She sees it as an extension of the whole alchemical process.
Okay.
So you take that raw material of stress
Mm-hmm.
and use it to create positive change.
So instead of letting stress drag us down,
Yeah.
we use it as fuel to move us forward.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It's about shifting your focus from what you don't want
Okay.
to what you do want.
Makes sense.
From fear and anxiety
Yeah.
to hope and possibility.
Okay, but how do we actually manifest our desires? Is it just wishful thinking?
It's more than that.
Okay.
It's about aligning your thoughts, feelings, and actions with your desired outcome.
Oh, okay.
Like you're an archer aiming at a target.
Okay.
You need to see where you want the arrow to land.
Yeah.
Then you focus your energy and let go.
With intention.
Yes. So it's setting intentions, visualizing, and taking action steps.
So conscious manifestation is basically recognizing that we have the power to create our own reality.
Exactly. And that stress can be a catalyst for that when used intentionally.
I like that.
It all ties back to that alchemy metaphor, right?
Yeah, taking something we see as negative
Sure.
and turning it into something positive.
Exactly. But like any alchemical process,
Yeah.
it takes patience, practice, and willingness to experiment.
For sure.
So we've covered some pretty intense concepts here.
We have shadow work, quantum forgiveness, conscious manifestation.
Yeah, not your average stress management techniques.
Definitely next level stuff. But the point is, they're all tools
Right.
to help us transform how we deal with stress.
And speaking of tools, I'm curious about the practical side of all this.
Yeah, me too.
Does Violet Spring give any guidance on actually putting these techniques into practice?
I hope so, because this all sounds pretty complex.
She does. And that's what we'll explore in the final part of our deep dive.
So we've really been through a lot in this deep dive.
We have.
From grounding with the earth element to like facing our shadows.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing how Violet Spring approaches stress, you know?
Yeah. She really sees it as a chance to grow.
Chance to transform.
What I really like is that she doesn't just talk about these ideas in a like theoretical way.
Yeah, she gives you actual tools to use.
Exactly. It's not just philosophy. It's about taking action to change how we experience stress.
I agree.
So say someone's feeling overwhelmed right now.
Yeah.
What's one thing they could do, like today, to start alchemizing their stress?
That's a good question.
I know, right?
Well, I'd say start with the breath.
The breath.
Yeah, just take a few moments to really breathe deeply, you know?
Okay.
Feel the air coming in and out.
Yeah.
It's simple, but it's powerful.
It's like hitting a reset button for your nervous system.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you can do it anywhere, anytime.
No need for special equipment or anything.
Nope. And from there,
Yeah.
you can try some of the other techniques we talked about.
Oh, right, like the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method.
Exactly, to ground yourself.
Or maybe some journaling.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Or channel that fire energy into like a walk or a creative project.
Yeah, anything that feels right.
I guess the point is to find what works for you.
And make it a part of your routine.
Even small steps can make a difference, right?
Definitely. It's like working those alchemical muscles.
I like that. Turning that stress into something valuable.
Exactly.
And it's not just about feeling better, it's about using challenges to grow.
Absolutely.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah?
I want to leave our listeners with a question.
Okay, sure.
If stress is the raw material for transformation, what kind of alchemist do you want to be?
Ooh, that's a good one.
What kind of gold do you want to create from your challenges?
I love that question.
And remember, this journey of alchemy, it's ongoing.
It is. There's always more to discover.
Yeah, more to transform.
Exactly.
So keep experimenting, keep exploring,
Yeah.
and keep unlocking that inner alchemist within you.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
Being your own holistic hero is easy. Just like and subscribe to join the journey. Thanks for watching.